Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and I'm bringing you guys my Week 6 battle of UBC action. Now, we are going up against Ice Demon Gray, coach of the Barcelona Bagons, and he's a new addition to the UBC this season, and I've seen him around the community quite a bit. I know that he's involved in the UPA, and in all those leagues, with it's run by like Drew and Aster's in there, and Mence is a part of that group. Bunch of fun dudes. Glad that he's been able to join the UBC. And this is, at this point we're 0-5, so I don't think playoffs is going to be feasible for us. But we are playing for our pride, and so hoping to pick up my first W against Ice this week. Even though he seems like a stand-up guy, I hate to pass him an L. But as you can see, he's got a roster of Weavile, my voice cracked, oh my goodness, Weavile, Mega Gallade, Garchomp, the Melodic, Klefki, Shaman, Meloetta, Chandelure, Golbat, Electivire, and Regirock. And just from top to bottom, his team is so busted. It's really nuts. Like, this is what happens when you play in a point-style draft and you have 120 points to work with. Like, it's just, you get really great teams like this. And you can look at my team. I feel like my team is sort of the same at this point. It's just like 11 mons that are like, if you're in a tier-based draft, like everything is like tier 3 or higher basically, except for maybe Pangoro. Pangoro, you can argue, is tier 4, and Steelix is not like a tier 1 mega, it's like a tier 2, tier 3 or lower mega. But like, the teams are just so busted in this style of draft. That's the nice thing about tiers, is that I think the teams end up a little bit more balanced. But I digress. I'm just whining now. But so he has a scary team. There's some really annoying things on his team. Like, Weavile is just one of the mons I hate playing. Just because it's so fast, it's so strong, it's got good coverage for almost anything. So it's just really hard to contend with. Melodic is like a fat, annoying cancer. I called it that in my GBA video last week. It's just such a pain to deal with. And so not looking forward to having to fight that thing. He's also got some other threats too that I don't have many resistances to. Like, if he were to bring like Scarf Meloetta, I don't really have great checks for that because I'm not bringing Steelix. Like, it's true that I've got Nihilego as a normal resist, but you'll see that's a suicide lead set this week. It's not meant to be a switch into anything, and it's not that comfortable switching Nihilego into Meloetta considering it has Psychic Stab. Then Chandelure also is really scary. I only have one Ghost Resist on my team, and as you can see, it's on the bench. So that's definitely a bummer. But let's quickly go through the team, and then we're going to hop on into the replay. And so as you can see, my first mon is Scizor, and this is a funny item here. We're rocking with Ultra Necrozma Z. Reason being is that this allows us to switch in very easily to knock off. It's like basically equivalent to having no item. Basically it doesn't gain the power boost when you try and knock off an Ultra Necrozma Z, or it could be the same thing if I brought Waterium or whatever, but the Necrozma Z crystal just seemed funnier. So makes a really nice check to that. I'm going with pretty much max HP, practically max defense, and then I put enough speed on here to outspeed, I think, Melodic, which is 198, yeah. And so that also helps me to outspeed, not Golbat. I think Golbat still outspeeds. Yeah, so it's just Melodic. So I can at least U-turn on that thing and stuff like that. Yeah, but otherwise this is like one of the best checks to Weavile in the game. So I'm happy to have this on the squad. Next up, I've got Entei, and this is a pretty interesting, not interesting spread, but basically, like, his team seems vulnerable to Entei. Well, it's not so that it seems vulnerable to Entei. Let me rephrase that. It just lures in a lot of the stuff that Zygarde hates, like Melodic, and so it gives me a really good opportunity to hit it up with Toxic. And it also lures in stuff like Regirock, so we do have Stomping Tantrum for that. Extreme Speed's very nice versus his team, especially on mon like Entei, because his only Extreme Speed resists are Klefki and Chandelure. Chandelure can't OHKO me with anything, and I do obviously have the fire coverage to scare the Klefki. So Extreme Speed's looking quite nice. So yeah, I just like this spread. in this this moveset to try and hit the melodic and also the Garchomp that might potentially want to switch in on a fire move. And that'll help clear the way for other members of my team. Next, we've got Clostridium, the Reuniclus, kind of a basic Calm Mind set. I was thinking about running T-Wave instead, but Calm Mind just seems like a nice win condition. And this coverage hits his entire team except for Klefki, but I think Klefki is not a big threat to me. Like, that's the reason I wanted to bring the Entei, and I do also have the Zygarde on the roster, as you can see, that we'll get to later. Goldberg Berry, standard for dealing with what do you call it, Glade. And it also allows me to potentially take a hit from Weavile, and I think I kill it with a +1 Signal Beam. So that's quite nice. I just have to make sure I'm at a good amount of HP before that thing can come in and destroy my life. So standard spread here, nothing to talk about really. We've got a Kepia Berry Whimsicott. I think this is the exact same moveset that I had last week, but the spread's a little different. I put more into HP and less into special attack. This HP is just so I can take hits as good as possible from things like Gallade, Garchomp, etc. If those Mons wants to go for setup moves, I can Encore them. I can go for Moonblast versus both of them. Encore is also really important for taking care of Melodic. If it wants to go for Recover Stall or whatever, I can Encore that and eventually just Giga Drain myself up to full health. So even though Giga Drain does not two-shot, which is really kind of wild, Melodic's fat and annoying, we can at least, pressure it into with Encore, which is good. Next, we do have a Life Orb Zygarde. Now, I really want to be careful with this Zygarde. There's been too many times this season where I've set up too early, and it's really frustrating. So if I can just use this to pressure things on his team, I'll be pretty happy. I am expecting the Shaman to be his response, so that's why we went with a Lonely Nature here, and we went back the Sludge Wave. If he's going fully Fizz Def, we should be able to do a pretty decent chunk of damage to it with Sludge Wave. If we've got Hazards up, there's even a chance that we can 2-hit KO, which is nice. We've got enough speed for Chandelure on this Zygarde. Nothing else that I needed to outspeed that I could tell. And again, just having extreme speed is very good. Like, I wasn't too worried about packing Yachi Berry this week, because +1 extreme speed easily takes care of Weavile after rocks, so he doesn't get the opportunity to click an ice move versus me. I take him out first. So that's looking very nice. Then last but not least, we do have a Focus Sash Nihilego. I really want to get up rocks versus his team to take care of things like Chandelure, Weavile, etc. That are all just extremely annoying. Magic Coat is really cute because like Klefki kind of hard walls this, and he might think it's a good opportunity for him to set up spikes. So we can then go for Magic Coat instead and trying to set up spikes on his side of the field. Basically, he'll be forced to either defog or to kill us. And then we just have Max. This allows us to outspeed Garchomp, and then we can do as much damage as possible with our moves here. So nothing too heat, I would say. A lot of standard stuff. I like this Entei set to lure in the Melodic and stuff like I mentioned. But without further ado, let's hop on over to our battle. And you can see that Ice has brought his Weavile, Chandelure, Klefki, Garchomp, Melodic, and Gallade, Mega Gallade. So, what am I surprised not to see? I don't know. I think this makes a lot of sense. I guess the main thing is no Shaman. So that means that this is definitely going to be a Fizz Def Melodic, because that's going to be his Zygarde response. So again, I'm really glad I've got the Entei set that I do to try and lure that thing in. What else? It might even be Flame Orb, if I'm being honest, so we'll have to see. Chandelure is looking like a big problem. I've got no Ghost Resist. And I guess I kind of hope that it's like Specs, because most of my team can outspeed it and deal with it. Otherwise, nothing too crazy here. Setup Gallade can be a little bit of a problem, but at least I do have Encore to abuse that. So I do believe I lead with my Nihilego, because that was the whole point of bringing in the Focus Sash set. And he's going to lead off with his Garchomp. So either he's going to try and set up his own rocks here, or maybe he's going to Earthquake me, or maybe he turns out to be Scarf or something, and I get that information right away. In any case, he can't kill me in one hit, and I can go for an HP Ice and try and snipe this off. If he is Scarf, then I just go into my Whimsicott and then start to do, normal Whimsicott stuff, which is be annoying. And we work from there. But he is not going to be Scarf, As you can see, we pop his Yachi Berry, do about 43% to him. He goes for Earthquake. Now, he knows that his Garchomp is going to go down here to hit Power Ice, so there's no point for me to go for that, because he will be definitely switching out, and we can just easily go for our Stealth Rocks as he brings in his Klefki. Now, this is really nice, because now I can stay in here and basically force him to kill me, because I'm going to go for Magic Coat, set up some spikes, and it's actually going to work out a second time. He's going to go for Magic Coat, and I get up a second layer of spikes. So again, he has to kill me. Or if he's packing Defog, he has to go for that now. But Spikes with Defog just doesn't make a ton of sense. So we're able to get up a ton of hazards. We got his Garchomp weakened and all that good jazz. So now my Entei comes in. This thing obviously scares the crap out of Klefki. This is like the most obvious Toxic that I can go for here, because he's definitely bringing in a Melodic. And just having all this hazard damage is so delicious on this Melodic. I really love it. So we do land that Toxic, which is excellent. And he does show the leftovers. So he's not Flame Orb. It would have been nice if we got him on Flame Orb. He doesn't even have a chance to activate it. But he does get Toxic. It does trigger his Marvel Scale, but now he can't stay in and 1v1 stuff, which is nice. So here I actually make a misclick. I meant to click Whimsicott, but instead I go into Zygarde. This is definitely not the right play. As it turns out, though, he went into his Klefki. I guess he was expecting, maybe he was expecting to switch into the Whimsicott, or maybe the Reuniclus even. But it looks like it has the appearance that I made some sort of god play, but I didn't. I just misclicked. And now I'm in a position here to throw off a really free 1,000 arrows, because the Melodic with the Toxic, with the hazards and everything, is no longer a switch in. So I'm in a really, really nice spot, and I'm just going to fire that off. He's going to reveal it. He's got the Sugar Berry, and he's going to be able to survive, throw off a Play Rough, and lucky for me that the Klefki doesn't have a whole lot of attack investment. We're going to be able to take it out with a second 1,000 arrows. So that Zygarde finally getting a kill. I think it's gotten like 1 or 2 other kills this season, but it's nice to finally see it do a little bit of work, not just die trying to set up or whatever. But now the Chandelure comes in here. Like, the way he brings it in, it's almost 100% Scarf. But I don't have anything on my team that switches into Scarf Shadow Balls. So my best play is just to let Zygarde go down here. I've got other ways to win this match, like my Calm Mind Reuniclus and stuff like that. But I bring in my Entei now, because this can very easily take 2. I can go for Stomping Tantrum, and that will take this thing out. It doesn't 2-shot the Milotic, which is a little bit of a bummer. But like, Milotic's not that scary for me. I can go either into Reuniclus or Whimsicott, and it's not a huge deal. But as you can see, he goes into Garchomp. I hit up with Stomping Tantrum, and I'm going to be able to kill it with a follow-up E-Speed, which is really nice. Turns out to be Sand Veil. I think that was a mistake on his part. I think it was like I don't know if you can call it a misgen, because obviously he didn't actually gen it, but you guys get my point. So we're going to be able to take that thing out, which is really nice, and we were tied up 4-4. Now as Melodic comes in, like, it can pretty much recover for free. But I'm not super worried about that, because I do threaten the Encore here. I'm going to expect him to switch into something like Chandelure, on my potential Encore, because Chandelure does pretty much get a kill otherwise. So I do click U-turn, and he's actually going to stay in, and so that's definitely annoying. I go into my Reuniclus as he goes for Mirror Coat. So that's why he chose to stay in. It makes a lot more sense now. Like, Giga Drain into Mirror Coat would have done a chunk to my Whimsicott. So really nice move. Just a shame that it didn't work out for him there. If I had gone for Encore, like, then he would have recovered, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world for him. He's got good switch-ins to Whimsicott. But I don't know if I go for Calm Mind or if I just go for a Psyshock. I think I just go for a Psyshock. Reason being is if he wants to go into Chandelure, that will take it out. If he wants to go into Weavile or into Gallade, I do have a Colbur Berry to deal with those Mons. And, try and hit him up with Psyshock or Signal Beam or whatever. It turns out he actually goes for a Dragon Tail and phases me out. Makes a lot of sense if he was expecting me to go for Calm Mind or something. But it gets me back into my Whimsicott, and I didn't reveal the Encore before. Maybe he's thinking I don't have it, but I can Encore him into Dragon Tail, which of course I'm immune to, being a fairy type and all. So we're gonna Encore this, and he like literally can't do anything. It's not even like he's Encored into Recover, and he can try and keep himself at a high amount of HP. So he's going to switch out into the Chandelure, take a ton of hazards, like 37% in hazards, go for a U-turn. It is quad resisted, but the nice thing is that Chandelure is not very, it's not very bulky. So even from an uninvested Scizor, a Bullet Punch is going to kill. So that's exactly what I'm going to go for, which is looking great. And now he is going to go into Gallade. And the threat of a setup move is very scary here. But I can go for, like, I can take any move he wants to go for, save for maybe a Fire Punch. So I'm just going to stay in and try and U-turn and pivot out into whatever's appropriate based on what he does. And so he goes for Bulk Up. And I do have my Whimsicott, which can, again, threaten the Encore. If the Chandelure were still alive, I probably would have predicted the switch out and gone for U-turn. But like pretty much anything he goes into here, like if he goes into Melodic, I then kill it with Giga Drain. If he goes into Weavile, I've got a very, very free switch into Scizor, because just Weavile cannot do anything to Scizor, period. So I don't mind going for Encore, like even if he expects that. And he does go into the Weavile. If I had gone for Moonblast, actually, I think this would have died, so this is kind of an interesting play, but I guess he was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Like, if he goes into Melodic, I kill it with Giga Drain. If he goes into Weavile, like, you know, I could kill with Moonblast or whatever. Or, you know, at least he, you know, if I go for Encore, he can get his Weavile in for free and try and do some damage. So I do Encore that. But, again, Scizor is extremely, extremely free here. He's going to go for Icicle Crash, and that does 24%. No big deal, and he shows the Life Orb. So that means he's not packing any sort of natural gift, heat, or anything like that. So that's perfect. So yeah, super free U-turn here. He's going to go into Melodic, and we are going to be able to sack, or you know, he's going to sack that off basically to my U-turn. And now all he's got left is the Gallade and the Weavile. And the Gallade is going to take all these hazards. It's going to be extremely low. And I'm going to be able to kill it with a Flare Blitz, and then that only leaves his Weavile, which is definitely going to die to extreme speed. And even if somehow this Gallade had lived the Flare Blitz, I could also follow up with an extreme speed on the following turn. So at the end of the day, as you can see here, we are finally going to net a victory in the UBC, and it is to the tune of a 4-0 victory. And big shout outs to Ice for the battle. He was a real good sport after the game, and you know, he's still, you know, looking pretty good this season. I think he's like 3-2 or 4-2 or something like that. Maybe it's 3-3 now. That week 6 is over, but I'm not 100% sure. The doc, I don't think it's 100% up to date. But yeah, it feels like a weight has come off my shoulders now that I finally picked up a W here. And again, you know, I'm not trying to grind my way into playoffs. That's not really going to work. I'm just trying to have a good showing and, you know, make sure that everybody, you know, still respects me and doesn't think I'm just a walkover. So hopefully this week was a good start towards making sure that that happens. So hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like down below if you did enjoy our first W of the UBC. And I'm not sure who we're playing in week 7, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. If you guys are interested in that, of course, there's a very easy way for you guys to stay tuned to all the latest UBC action, and that is, of course, to drop a sub. And we'll be doing another P4G video next week, and we'll hopefully be getting back to some regular Duel Links content. I haven't been doing any Duel Links for like the past month or so just because of time constraints, but there is a new box that came out last week, and it's really exciting. It's totally changed up the game, and I have a bunch of deck lists that I want to share with you guys. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Make sure you check back to the channel for other gaming and Pokemon content. Until the next time, I'll see you guys later.